All right, I think it's working. Everything. Sorry, StreamYard bugged out. Reset my camera, my microphone, all that good stuff. Let me get that music
Hello.
turned down. What's up? Thank you for joining. Let me turn these on.
Hi,
Uh,
everyone.
let me see here. I'm gonna have to. Yeah. Well, wait. I would. Why am I backwards? What the heck? See what I'm saying?
Oh,
What the? I was backwards. I was Adam on my hoodie, whatever that means. Yeah. Uh, how have you been,
could mean
Rosie?
something.
How have you
I've
been?
been I've been well, thanks. How have you been?
It's been a long week, you know. But I have a question. Did you two things? Did you get to check out the audio about the confidential informant? And
Mhm.
did you check out any of the episode that we watched last night on Dr. Brent Turvey?
Yes and yes. So
Oh, okay.
I've watched both. I watched last night's show, so that just covers everything.
Oh,
um,
okay.
yes. Um,
What'd you
yeah,
think of
the,
each
the
one?
the confidential informant thing. I mean, even though it's so like shocking to hear, it kind of makes sense at the same time. Like it makes things make sense,
Hmm.
but it's still just crazy to hear that. And I mean, I listened to it a few times, and there's no like, I don't think there's any other way to interpret it. That's what is said. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it goes along. It's kind of like the stuff we've been saying the last week and a half. It goes along with everything that I was being told just a few weeks after the crime took place. I mean, and this is multiple things that we've brought up just
yeah,
with these documents coming out, stuff that's been discovered, things like that. So, it what it did is it validated my theory even more to me, who the target was.
right.
You know, with all of the stuff like the drugs and things like that, it's like, there's a lot of things we got bashed for in the very beginning. And to see, that stuff come out and be factual, it's like, well, it, you know,
Yeah,
it sucks that, us as a community had to go through that, for people that just didn't want to accept reality. But, um, you know, when it comes to like the injuries we were being told, in the very beginning about Kaylee and stuff, and that's why I just always felt that she was the target, when it comes to the confidential informant, because I honestly now, because it was always speculation from the very beginning. Could she or could she not be? Nobody really knew for sure. Nobody really knew for sure. It was just what was being floated around. I mean, you s- you hear some of the theories and speculation that's being floated around the last couple days about some of the stuff, and it's just like, my god, like, people are really reaching. But with this, we just never knew, but it was always a question. Even with the injuries, the drugs, all of those things, we always wondered, was it true? And when I heard that on that body cam, that to me said, okay, that stuff from the very beginning, that part was true, just like all this other stuff. And then it just, that right there is like, that validates just my theory and what I've been saying this whole time. And I honestly feel now that there is confirmation with that audio. I honestly feel that that was part of the crime. I really feel that was part of the reason that the crime took place. It just,
like
everything makes sense. Everything.
I do
Her
too.
being there
Yeah,
for that short period of time, just coming back, was leaving to go live in Texas just a day or
mhm,
two after, like all of these things, somebody found out she was a CI. That right there will make somebody walk in and commit that kind of brutal crime. because there was talk about cartel in the very beginning. You want to talk about a cartel style crime? Introduce a confidential informant that gets exposed. Hello? I mean, it's the same thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that audio, do you think she was the target? Do you think that's part of the reason for why the crime took place?
Yeah, so I do think that she was the target. And then I think the relationship between her and Maddie, with them being so close, I think that it would have been safe to assume that she told Maddie she was a CI if she was, which would have made Maddie like a secondary target.
Yeah, that's what she
Um,
told. That's what Maddie was so plastered. She spilled the guts to Adam
yeah,
about being a confidential informant. That's when, what did you tell Adam? I told Adam everything. Oh, he's
right.
going to get you for that. Like, that all makes sense now, too. Maddie was so intoxicated that she literally spilled the beans on Kaylee. I'm wondering, that corner club video that came out in the documents. I'm
Yeah,
wondering I'm wondering if she's telling Maddie in that video about being a confidential informant because she's a little tipsy too.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
whoa. Could that be when she said to Maddie, like, "Hey, don't say nothing, but I actually had to come back here too because remember there was 50 to 60 FBI agents out there in that area before she got killed, right? Don't say nothing. I'm a confidential informant. I'm actually out here doing some work for some of the agents as well. I mean,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden she spills it to Adam. What did you tell Adam? I told him
yeah.
everything.
And I'm just thinking now, that third person in that conversation, the guy,
Jen,
is he the one who left? Was he
the
the one
hoodie
who
guy.
left straight afterwards?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the one walking with them to the grub truck.
but he left straight away. So
They
maybe it was
ditched
also
him.
because no, I mean like he left the country or something.
He jetted out of the freaking area. He went down to
Okay.
Boise right after. He went down to Boise, I believe. Um, and then did his interview. He had, you know, cuts and stuff, but they ended up excluding him. I don't I
Yeah,
don't
so I'm
even think
thinking
they
maybe
interviewed the killer, honestly, but go ahead.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I was thinking maybe he was like maybe because he also knew whatever she told Adam because he was like involved in the conversation. I don't know. That kind of just occurred to me now.
Well, yeah, he's the one that said he's the one
Mm,
when yeah, that said he's gonna get you for that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it's what does Adam know? I would like to sit down with us sometime and I would like to sit down with us sometime and watch Adam's interview together. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
it. I don't know. It's just, after hearing that and knowing for sure, because I'm asking everybody, if you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's not the latest video, but the one before that. It has Lanyard on the thumbnail. Um, I'm not hearing anybody saying that they don't hear it. I'm hearing people type and comment that
Mhm.
they do hear it clearly, and so did I. So that
Right.
right there, it really to me sums up a lot of the question of why the crime took place. Now, when it comes to multiple people, now I'm going to be a little more open to the idea of there being multiple killers,
Yeah.
and then you got to think about it like this too. There was always this speculation from the very beginning that Brian worked for the feds, he wasn't under, he was a confidential informant, right? There was a lot of that speculation going on.
I remember that.
It it makes me wonder, is that maybe a little more true too? I never really thought that there was any truth to that. But with this audio and the body cam and the confidential informant admission from Officer Snyder, um, it makes me wonder, maybe a little bit more, maybe he was, and maybe it was part of let me put it to you like this, kind of like a new theory, right?
Mhm.
So what if there was two killers? What if the reason for these two killers was that maybe not only in the conversation of telling Maddie that she was a confidential informant, maybe she also added a couple names.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm out here working with Brian Koberger and such.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then it gets out to Adam, this stuff that was being told to Maddie in confidence. So then Adam finds out, and then these two individuals, or maybe one of the individuals, gets word back, hey, your cover's blown because of so and so. So then maybe it was him and somebody else. Hey, did you arrest anybody else? Maybe it was him and somebody else that needed to go make sure that they took care of something. And being that he had a good chance to fight this in court, he knew ultimately that the other person was still out there and could enter the mix at any moment, maybe be a surprise with, I don't know, enter the mix at any moment and, kind of take a plea deal to get a lesser charge, and then
Mhm.
he takes the full brunt of it, and maybe it could be like they don't have nothing on him, so I'm just going to take the fall for it and not even let it get to trial, so then he gets exposed. I don't know, because when it comes to what the defense was going to try and argue in the trial about the second killer, about the other unknown male, non-tested DNA, about how there could be other people involved and all this other stuff, like who knows? Because I never understood the plea deal, but maybe thinking about it in that form, you could understand that kind of plea deal that he did take. I don't I don't know. It just brings up a lot more questions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, as soon as you hear that, then it makes you rethink just everything because like the whole
Yeah,
context changes. Yeah.
it
So
does.
everything's different if you think about it now.
It does.
But like
And
I said before, it makes a lot of things make sense.
yeah, and well, and plus it's like, we knew that Kaylee was a sleuther. It
Mhm.
makes me wonder now, hearing the admission from the officer about one of the victims being a confidential informant, and I'm just assuming it's Kaylee. Um, you just base that off of everything else, the evidence, and the injuries, the evidence, the timeline, and it just all points right to her. It makes me
Mhm.
wonder what all she did know. And remember, when we dug into the grub truck in at the December of 22, January, February of 23, and I was kind of talking about, how it sounds like there's some kind of, because they were like paying for girls' meals and people were getting jealous if a girl had a boyfriend when they paid for the meal and all this other stuff. And you could see like the inner workings of like, when you look into crimes that involve traffic, stuff
Mhm.
and all of those things, you kind of see signs that maybe might fly over other people's radars. And it kind of gave me the vibe like there was this network of creeps, like paying for meals, like probably hiding around the corner saying, "Hey, I'm the guy that just paid for your meal. How you doing?"
Yeah.
You at least got to say hi to me or something. You know what I mean? Like some creep shit.
Mhm.
Not only that, but also the higher ups that are willing to throw a lot of money around. You see the photos that were put out of the victims in their little bathing suits out on the yachts and things like that. And it's kind of like the stuff that I talked about all the way back then about guest appearances,
Yeah.
making money just to show up for eye candy for these rich executives that own yachts and these beautiful homes in the mountains and this exclusive stuff, and they get pampered and all these other things. And when you do that kind of work, you get exposed to certain conversations and certain situations where you might overhear or oversee something that maybe you aren't supposed to be around, and they trust you because they have an affection for you, so their walls are a little bit lowered when it comes to their defenses, and so they kind of let some things slide and stuff like that. And it's like, damn, she probably had to have known a lot because she was a really smart girl.
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had to have, I'm sure she had a lot of dirt on a lot of people that had a lot of money.
Mm. And I mean, that is a recipe for, I guess,
Confidential
what happened.
informant.
Yeah.
Confidential informant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It really is. I mean, like you say, she was a really smart girl, but she was so young. And I guess she didn't really know the full extent of everything. Yeah. It's sad.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I went up there for my year anniversary trip and I was talking to people, that's when I found out that it's not a big deal that people skin animals.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I learned that it's not it you know, I will just say that m- most of the hunting population is about sport. I'll put it that way.
Mm.
There's
Okay.
there's there's some of the population that it's more about the mutilation. And
Okay.
it's how can I put it? It's not looked it's not looked at as that big of a deal. So when that stuff is normal, let me turn the comments on here too. Thank you. When that stuff is normal, that kind of tells you something.
Yeah, it does. That's true.
Like yeah, I was really shocked, because we had heard the stories about the different frats, skinning coyote and things like that and leaving those on
Mhm.
statues and all that other stuff, and it's like, damn, that's sick as hell, man. You think about the crime, you think about you know just the brutality of it, and then you think about the what the what the how it's like normal. It's normal for that stuff, and you just put that two and two together, and it's like, geez, like it's out in the open. It's a middle of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a different world. It's a different world.
I know. And I mean, I don't really know a lot about it, but I've heard a lot of professionals say that cruelty to animals is a precursor for something else. I, I, I just don't see how that can be normal, but I guess that if it is normal, it desensitizes you to
Yeah. Yeah,
escalating stuff. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of activity. Um, what do you think about? Well, speaking of audio, let me ask you this before I ask you the turvy question. Speaking of
Mm.
audio, have you heard the audio that is supposedly of Maddie getting attacked?
I have not yet. No.
Okay, okay. Because I figure we'll check that out
Mhm.
before we get into the Dr. Turvy stuff. Um, uh, for tonight's show, but I want to ask you about the Dr. Turvy stuff from last night's show. What did you think about the stuff that they were discussing? It was kind of interesting to me because it's what I was telling people before we started, that this whole conversation is going to reek Idaho 4, and the episode was aired 10 months before the crime, almost to the date that the crime took place. And everything that they were discussing, you could really apply it to either the evidence, the prosecution, how things went down, what was being pushed, just the, and also like a deeper level, like a behind the scenes view of the inner workings of what we see on the surface. And I thought it was just a very interesting conversation, but really it's like the episode was aired a couple days ago. When you consider everything that took place with Idaho 4, what'd you think of the episode from last night?
So I really it was like it was made for Idaho 4, right?
Yeah.
So when I first read his, what they included of his report in the new documents, I wasn't entirely sure what I thought because I felt like they just took out like snippets of his report, and I thought that it would have been easier to see the full thing. So being able to see his line of thinking just in general really helped to like contextualize what's in the documents as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just like Idaho 4. If you didn't know when it was from, you would have thought that's what he was talking about, which shows you how well he knows the system, I guess, because I mean, he can basically make predictions 10 months before. And I think it makes it feel like not having a trial is even more of a loss because you really want to be able to see what he was thinking. Like, what did he have to say about this in depth? I think it would have been interesting to see because I mean, just reading his work is different to
Yeah.
seeing him. I have much more
Right.
understanding of him now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and he's really personable too. I mean, he's a really funny guy.
yeah,
And I love the honesty with no BS,
yeah.
like it's straight to the point, and it's like you you can after you're done watching it, you can really say to yourself, like, I really believe what he was saying. Even though it's stuff that is kind of shocking, you
Hmm.
can walk away and be like, yeah, I totally trust what this dude is saying. I really feel like he would have tore it up in the trial.
Yeah. I
You
mean, there's
know?
some opinions and stuff that I kind of disagree with of
Yeah.
his, but
Oh
I think
yeah.
that
Yeah.
he's very genuine in his
Yeah.
approach, like very.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't agree. I mean, how even the second killer and the reason about Kaylee being posed, when I was discussing my theory of what I think the killer did to Kaylee and how they did it, it totally doesn't even go along with what he was going to testify and argue. But
Mhm.
regardless, I really think like he would have been able to really make a difference when it comes to questioning the evidence. Maybe
Yeah.
you don't agree with the theory, but you can agree to question the evidence, you know.
Yeah.
So I think,
Sorry.
sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I just no, 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 like I was gonna say, like, even if you don't agree, he seems like he puts a sound argument forward for it. Like
Yeah,
there's no holes in
yeah,
what he's saying. So
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I meant.
you can sit back and go, "Yeah, that is that's legitimate what
Hmm.
he's saying."
Yeah,
I've never discredited or discounted what he was saying because, like, what it really could be true based off of what he's saying too. I'm just going off of my theory and what I feel,
yeah, yeah,
took place. And when it so, when it comes to that body cam, there's a couple people saying that it's Lanier, not Snyder, and I appreciate your all's opinion. But to me, if you look at the body cam and you watch that video, Lanier doesn't even know any of the victims' names. So, and then also the reason that I feel that Snyder's the one that said it is because Snyder is also the one that said, I can tell you more over here to Lanier. So obviously he already told him something, which was one of the victims is a CI. And then he said, I can tell you more over here because he recognized Lanier was standing there. Like it was kind of one of those moments to me when you watch it, and because his mouth isn't even moving when you hear that, but m- more to double down on it, it's Snyder that says, I can tell you more over here to Lanier. So you put two and two together and you can already,
right.
in my
Yeah,
opinion, assume that it's Snyder. But yeah, when that comment was made, did you like pay attention to Lanier's face at all? And his facial expressions after that comment came out. He looked like he was like to me, he looked like he was overwhelmed with what he
yeah,
just heard.
yeah,
Like he was almost to the point where he was like lost in thought. You know, it was like an outer body experience of being lost in thought where you just totally forget where you're at and what you're doing, and you're like so focused on what you just heard and trying to compute it in your brain and break it down, and you're like, is this what I to me that's what I seen on his with his facial expressions and what he did with his face, and just kind of stared off because he's just like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, this is way bigger than, they knew it was 4 victims, but it was like, this is way bigger than what
yeah,
I even thought it could be. That's what I saw and heard. So I don't know. What do you think?
yeah. I think no, I agree with that. I'm pretty sure that like when I first heard it, my face did the same thing. I mean, I didn't see, but it
Yeah,
was like
me
it
too.
just
Yeah.
adds. It was like, huh? Because it changes everything.
Yeah,
It's like
it
the it
does.
just adds a
It's
completely different context. Yeah.
and it validates a lot too, because when I heard that, everything it was like a puzzle of pieces
Mhm.
and once that came, I was like, all these other pieces just started like fusing to that puzzle piece right there, and I'm just like, holy hell, all of this
Yeah.
makes sense all the way down to the crime taking place and why.
Yeah. Yeah. And the order, everything.
Because
Everything
Brown,
does.
like the whole incel theory is not even, it doesn't even exist because, like when we did the Elliot Rogers shows a couple years ago, y- you don't have a girlfriend. You don't have a girlfriend. He had a love interest.
Yeah.
So you don't even have a girlfriend. So the incel theory, now maybe the Queen Road Apartments incel theory, that will always exist to me, you know,
Mhm.
always, because I just I don't know. You listen to these episodes from Turvey and you kind of understand even more, like the fact that they let witnesses go, the fact that they didn't interview some witnesses, the fact that they didn't test all DNA, the fact, all of these different things. And we're going to go into more of it tonight when we get into our episode with Dr. Turvey on, what's it called? The crime scene investigation effect in crime lab crisis. So
Yeah.
that's what do you think took place? And this is what I think took place. I mean, you think about the DNA being tested for this case. To me, that was a crisis.
Yeah.
That was a crisis. Like the 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 mishandling of evidence. We heard from Dr. Turvey, like the crime scene, the people that the DNA dirty gloves, like that's like the bottom of the barrel. That's that's delegated to people that are on the shit list of the police department,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't even care. And so they're just like lazy about it. It's crazy. Like how that stuff is accepted.
Yeah, and it seems like it's pretty common just based on what he was saying, what him and Melanie were saying. They weren't like, I don't think they would be particularly surprised by Idaho 4's conduct.
No,
Doesn't sound like it.
no. And when we look at the evidence, isn't that what the evidence says to us? Like how they handled the investigation, the way they did the investigation with all this stuff coming out, like it looks exactly what Dr. Turvey was saying in last night's episode.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yep.
And I'm sure that more of what we're going to hear tonight, we are also probably going to sit back and go, whoa, this had to be what happened. I haven't seen this one yet. Uh,
Me neither.
so I'm excited to see this one about the crime lab crisis and the crime scene investigation effect. Um, let me see, what else did I want to, yeah, so we're going to go through this audio. I want to see what you guys think, but I want to discuss a couple things before we get into the audio. Because being out there, I went out there boots on the ground for the year anniversary. Being out there, I did a lot of investigating myself, and when it comes to the Linda Lane footage and the sounds that come from the Linda Lane footage, I'm going to kind of use my boots on the ground experience and things that I tested to give you a better idea. Because you can look at something and you can look at something like we've always said, like even with Google, you can look at Google and the distances are completely different than in real life. And so when I went out there, with what I explain, I'm going to use a photo of like a bird's eye view to kind of show like the testing that I did and what worked and what didn't and such, just to kind of explain when it comes to this audio. Because um I don't know if it's necessarily Maddie. It can definitely be somebody else. But if we go back to the summer of 2023 when Linda Lane video was put out there, we broke that down, did a deep dive on it, and um, there's a lot of TVs that were on that you could hear. There was um, obviously a lot of activity. There's a lot of windows around in that area, and there's a lot of open windows during that night. So there's a lot of different sounds. But when I show you what the things that I tested when I was boots on the ground, it'll make more sense with what I'm gonna explain about that. Um, so when it comes to uh, what do you think? With all of this other stuff that we're going to be discussing, or what we've heard from Turvey, what do you think the exculpatory evidence that BF supposedly had, according to Richard Batanti, has that, have because there's a lot of things that have kind of changed with stuff that's come out recently. Has that changed in your mind? Do you have like a theory about what that could be? Rosie, and as well in chat, do you any of you have a theory of what the exculpatory evidence could have been? Because with this confidential informant, who, maybe there's something else that maybe somebody might be thinking of, that, because I've always wondered that. That's one of the things in the trial I really wanted to know was
Yeah.
what is this exculpatory evidence that Bethany Funk
Yeah.
supposedly has?
I mean, I don't know if my opinion on that has changed. I mean, from what we heard, it's got something to do with stuff that she heard and saw. Um, so, I mean, I don't know if I've changed my thoughts on that based on anything from Brent Turvey. I still feel like it's something to do with the timeline. For some reason, I just have a feeling that she knows something that can change the timeline. But also with our last conversation on not being entirely sure anymore about which door was used to exit and stuff, and given that that's her level of the house, maybe it has something to do with that. But it hasn't really changed too much what I think about it. I'm pretty like, I don't know why. I just have a feeling it's to do with the timeline. And I can't even.
Well, I mean, it's a good argument, but what about the text messages and the timestamps with the text messages? Do you mean because if you're going off of Dylan's messages, you know, it was shortly after 4. So, what would be the different timeline if you introduce the text messages into that timeline? Like, elaborate a little more. Like, what do you think the timeline is that Beth?
I Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I just think that the way that I feel like the way that it was mentioned in court, it felt to me like Ann Taylor was sort of implying that, but also like I really don't know. When it comes to
Like,
the text messages, I think that sorry, I think that there's probably information missing there that we don't like we haven't seen the full like we
oh
just saw a
yeah,
snapshot. Yeah.
oh yeah.
So I don't know if there's more text messages at a different time that weren't introduced that we would want to read into. I just I mean, the only thing that we know for sure about the exculpatory evidence is that it's something she heard and saw.
Well, I was going to ask you if it was that the timeline was longer for the crime, and if that, you know, kind of like what you were saying in the first part of it, how it would be exculpatory to say that the crime was actually longer than when his vehicle left the scene of the crime, right?
I think it would be. And I mean that does fit with some of the stuff that Turvey has said in the documents in that there wasn't enough time to accomplish what the state is saying that he did because they're still alleging a scene cleanup. And I agree with that. I think that under 20 minutes, I just don't see how that's possible, especially for one person. So I do feel like it's somewhere in there, the exculpatory evidence, something to do with that.
Well, I want to bring something up to you because that it kind of adds to that, right? That adds to that being the exact reason, okay? And I was kind of feeling the same way, and this will explain why. It's kind of interesting that we both came to that conclusion because when I show you what I'm going to show you, it's going to make some stuff that I discussed and discovered a long time ago, and it's going to add more into what you were just explaining, okay? So when it comes
Okay.
to the vehicle that was, supposedly doing all this driving on all these different cameras, that was part of the scene of the crime. Remember when I discovered that the car that was leaving the scene of the crime after, I believe it was Dateline, had that doc that came out about Idaho 4 and showed the video of the car leaving the crime scene, and that's when I discovered that the car was actually it had fog lights,
Hmm.
and I broke all that down how the car had fog lights, right? Let me show you this, okay? Because the car that was leaving the scene of the crime did have fog lights. It had fog lights for uh when the vehicle was leaving and in different spots. You can tell because of how the pavement gets lit up way more. There's a reason. That's why they're fog lights, because it lights the pavement up even more so you can see more of the ground. I want to show you a couple photos, okay? So the
Okay.
first one I'm going to show is hold on one second. The first one I'm going to show is this. Okay. Whoops. Hold on one second. The first one I'm going to show is this. So you see, you got the fog lights and such, right? Look at Brian's car.
Oh.
No fog lights. So when it comes, see?
Yeah.
So when it comes to the theory of Bethany having exculpatory evidence to show that Brian Koberger was not committing the crime, would be what you just said, that the crime probably took longer than what is being put out there, that his car was in fact leaving during the part of the crime, whatever that was, whether it was the attack or some kind of cleanup or
Yeah.
whatever they did. That's why you didn't find any of the victim's DNA in his car, in the apartment, anywhere. And uh, so to me, you can't, no fog lights, exculpatory evidence, different timeline. They're not going to put out parts of the text messages that go against the narrative because they want to stick to a certain timeline to fit the video,
Yeah.
right? You know, you're walking around, it's so pitch black up there. You could be walking around, and plenty of people walk around up there during that period. The One of the things that I experienced when I was out there, boots on the ground, is that the parking is horrendous. That's one of the reasons why the roads are so thin and narrow. And I can show you some of my footage to show you how thin and narrow these roads are. They barely fit two vehicles at all. Barely. And when it comes to trying to find parking, it's very hard to even find it. And so, if somebody is going to commit this crime, the first choice would always be to find a parking spot somewhere else, and you can literally walk there. It's not very far to park on Walenta Ridge. It's not very far at all. You walk through somebody's backyard, you're wearing black clothes, it's pitch black at night, all the way up in the northern part of the globe, when that part of the globe is the farthest away from the sun. It is pitch black up there, and it starts to get pitch black at 4 o'clock in the afternoon at that time period. So by the time it's 2, 3, 4 in the morning, it is dark, 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 dark. So if you're wearing black, you're walking through a backyard. I walked through that yard. I walked through the backyard, down the trees, into the parking lot to where 1112 is when I was out there. It's not very far. It literally only took me 45 seconds. Now, if you're walking 45 seconds, pitch black, middle of the morning, nobody's really going to notice you. And it's the easiest way to get in and get out with anybody linking you or seeing a vehicle or having your vehicle on somebody's camera. You know, as far as somebody else's camera is going to see, they're going to see somebody getting out of their vehicle dressed in black. They don't know where
Yeah.
they went. And then they come back at a certain period, get in the car and go. They don't know if they went to somebody's backyard or not. They don't know if they went to somebody's house or not. So
Yeah.
that right there can explain about the exculpatory evidence. It's unfortunate. I wonder if we'll ever know, but I highly doubt it. I really doubt that any of that unless it might come out in some documents from the defense. I don't think it will, but
Mm,
because I don't know. I don't know if they would have elaborated that much. If there is kind of some kind of habeas corpus petition that does go through, which I very you look at the requirements and he doesn't meet them. But if there is some chance in the future, that's one thing that he is going to have to is they're going to have to name names, like, because you got to have an alibi and you have to be able to name names if you're saying that your client's not involved in it, was other people, and there's exculpatory evidence. So um
yeah,
let me see. BF contacting DM first in the time of the crime, that is true too.
yeah,
Yeah, a different part of the timeline, basically. And that's what we one of the questions we've all had from the very beginning was the timeline. The timeline has been a question, that's been debated since day one. Did it happen at 2? Did it happen at 2:45? Did it happen when Jack D was getting all the calls? Did it happen when this took, that's it's been the question this whole time. When did the crime start and when did it end?
absolutely. I think, I mean, ever since Mabbott first spoke, the timeline has been a query. Like it hasn't been consistent. Even when you read the PCA, there's like minutes where the crime is continuing, but the car is left, and you're just like, what goes on with this timeline? It's the main thing that's just been a little bit shifty.
Hmm. Yeah, and even like with what the Chapins said a long time ago too about
Hmm.
you know the 2 3 a.m. being the dead hour. What, 2 or 3 a.m., whatever it was. 3 a.m. is the dead hour, but
Yeah, I think
uh,
it was two. I don't
I
know,
thought
but
sh I
it's
thought
just
she said 2, but 3 a.m. is the dead hour. Um,
oh
I used to go ghost hunting.
oh
3 a.m. is the dead hour. So
oh
I'm,
okay.
I, yeah, I miss it. It was fun. Yeah, I did that a long time ago. Um, Used to go out and document it and everything. Um, in the very beginning of my, you know, whatever semi boots on the ground, with documenting things. It started off ghost hunting, but that was for fun. Um, when it comes to the weapon that Batanti was going to argue, do you think that there was a second weapon?
Um, Baton. Uh,
Or I'm sorry, not
oh
Batanti. I'm stuck on the exculpatory. Turvey, Doctor
oh.
Turvey. I'm sorry. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
no, no, no.
I'm stuck
I
on
do.
the. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do think there was, just because that's something that seems to be, even if they're not outright saying it, it seems to be that the state and the defense are kind of in agreement about that. Even if the state's not like outright saying it, I do get the impression that they also feel that there was a second weapon. And
You think the state feels that there was a second weapon?
in their press conference after the plea hearing, I got that feeling from them. I I think it's pretty likely that there's a second weapon. I just I
Why
can't
do you
imagine what it
what
is.
what did they say exactly that led you to believe that, and what do you think the other weapon was? Because again, from the very beginning, we know that there was some golf clubs missing in the Ethan's golf club set that was taken out. I'm a golfer. I told everybody it's missing clubs. Like, even if you have a mini set, you still have certain clubs. All right. You do. Yeah, it's a really big club too, and it was missing. Okay, so there's been talk about a Batchetti. There's been talk about the golf club. There's been talk about other weapons. So what did they say that led you to believe that, and what do you think do you have in mind what the other weapon could be based off of what you got into the documents?
Okay, so I can't remember exactly what they said. I think that they did make mention of a, maybe someone will remember. I think they did make mention of a second weapon in that press conference. So I got the feeling from them that they thought it was at least likely. In terms of the evidence that Turvey has put forward, where he's trying to argue that there were two perpetrators, which I kind of do agree with. I've always agreed with it. I think that it makes sense that, and I know I'm doing this a little wrong, where I'm presupposing that there were two, so there were two weapons, but in
Hey,
my mind there were two.
roll with
So
it. Roll with it. Roll with it. Just tell us how you feel, you know?
yeah, so I think that if there were two people, which I really feel they were, then there
Oh,
would be
thank you.
two weapons. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I've always thought there was one. Okay. Now the bat shetty was always in the back of my mind. I'm gonna admit the bat shetty.
Mhm.
When you go out there and I'm like, oh, so it's normal for people to skin freaking animals? Well, then a bat shetty is not that big of a surprise. Okay. Um, but I've always been majority has been on one weapon, the K bar with the blade and then the back of it. Um, what other weapon do you think what other weapon do you think it is? Do you have like an
I,
idea?
I
I'm so
think also
curious. I'm so curious about
I
this.
think I do think that it was something like a batchetti, or even I don't know about golf clubs, but I do think that there was something more blunt involved. Another thing that um
Because of the splatter and blood
no, no,
trails?
no, no. No, I
Because
would I
when I saw those photos, I didn't see Bat Shetty and a golf club, because if I did, then to me, it would have been so freaking horrific of splatter and blood trails
yeah.
that it would have been so like obvious that it would have been, you know what I'm saying? Um, I,
Mm,
I, I don't see that kind of, how do I explain it? Like a
I know
watermelon being thrown against a wall, right?
yeah. I
it,
know what you mean. But I think that there's also like we don't know a lot about the internal bleeding of the victims, where a lot of people hear bleeding and then they think that's outside the body, and it's not always. So it can be into a, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying any of this, but it can be into like an internal cavity of
you can
the
hey,
body.
no,
So,
listen, I quit being PG a long time ago. So
mhm.
I'll
Okay,
killer, okay? Like I don't
killer.
care.
Okay.
Say I'm tired. That's one of the things when we started doing this show again. I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna
Mhm.
say it. We're just gonna say it. So just say it. Say
Yeah.
the words
So
that
people
you are
can
like. I
people
don't care
can
about Charmin.
people can bleed into their brain, their stomach, their lungs. They can,
Right.
that is still a type of bleeding. It's just that it's not something you can see. And I think that with the severity of these crimes, there probably is more of that than we realize. Um, there was a case that I was, before Idaho 4, I was like following a local South African case. It was Senzo Miua, and this was a gunshot wound, a fatal gunshot wound. There was hardly any bleeding outside the body at all, but it was still a case of somebody having bled to death because it was completely internal. So it can be that way, that you won't see it necessarily from the scene. It would be more of like an autopsy thing.
Damn, that's
But
an anomaly. What case was that? That's an anomaly. Because usually
Senzo,
when that happens, it's like
yeah,
buckets. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Buckets. What case was that?
Senzo Miwa. So he was a soccer star in South Africa who was assassinated. I think it was in 2014. It was a gunshot wound. Yeah. So if anyone's interested, there's a really good Netflix documentary called, just type in Senzo Mayua.
How do you
and
spell
then
it? How
you
do you spell what you just said? Because I don't know how to spell that. Um,
let me let me
I
put it in chat.
I can guess, but it's probably some karate movie's gonna pop up or something. I don't know.
Hold
I'm
on a
like,
sec.
I'll try and figure out how to spell it. Like what? Thank you. I appreciate that. That is That's an anomaly when it
It
comes
can
to that.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, because yeah, it's the complete opposite. It's like really messy.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you. Thank.
what I did want to say oh,
Whoops.
sorry. What I did want to say with all of this is that when it comes to the weapon that was used to commit the crime, that has been very much, from what I can tell, based on the sheath. So if the sheath is in question, which for some people it is, then how are we entirely sure what they're saying about weapons? Because what medical evidence have they given for the exact type of blade, right? If you read the PCA, they say that they found the sheath, it has this logo, it says this on it, and then they jump straight to, okay, so it's a K bar that we're looking for, it's a K bar that did this. That's not necessarily backed up by anything else that I can see. I mean, there might be something that we just don't know
Well,
about, but it's all
I'm
based on this thing that they found. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the medical examiner's report to come out in these documents, and I hope they do. Um,
Hmm.
I hope this lawsuit that the families are trying to do doesn't prevent, because though to me the medical examiner's report is one of the most important documents out of any documents that you're going to get. And when it comes, if the medical examiner determines, that the the injuries are a consistent length when it comes to the organ, they determine it based
Hmm.
off of how the organs get injured and punctures and things like that. So they determine a particular size, projection of weapon that committed the crime. And so if that's in the medical examiner's report, then, I'm totally going to understand why they chose to go with it. Um, with that wording, we also have to go back to the conversation that we listened to. If anybody didn't check out last night's show, please do, especially the part where we went through Brett Turvey's discussion, because when it comes to what you said and what they wrote in the PCA, when you listen to what Brent Turvey said last night in that episode, then you can kind of come to the conclusion that, yeah, it was probably just an assumption.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of assumptions just
Yeah,
based on the documents that we've seen. So I understand why they're going with the K bar, but at the end of the day, we don't have a K bar.
right.
We have
Yeah,
we have a sheath,
no weapon.
and we like. I feel like there should be something stronger to confirm that, because it's based on something that they found. It's not based on any kind of medical report yet that we've
We'll see.
received.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The medical examiner's report is going to say so many more things, because once it comes out, we will know what was assumed. We will know exactly
Hmm.
what was part of the narrative, because if it's just simple, there is no measurements and typical wounds and, then yeah, it's going to be like, wow, this is a complete, just quick wrap up, get it over with. Kind of like what Bloom was saying on that episode that we checked out with Megan Kelly, where he was like, he was asking too many questions, and the person that was giving him the information was like, look, we found the guy, we arrested him, we're gonna convict him, it's a wrap, stop asking questions. Yes,
Yeah.
things don't make sense to me, but just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
and it's kind of goes it would kind of go along with that too, right? Like, hey, this is what we found, to the, especially with Kathy Mabbitt, how they treated her when she should have been one of the first people at the crime scene, but they didn't allow her to come there until 4 or 5 hours later. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were standing over, you know, any of these other professionals that were supposed to do what they were supposed to do, and were basically like, no, this is what you need to look for.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that fits in quite well to what was on last night's show with Brent Tovey. I mean, there's like that power imbalance as well when it comes to, you know, being told just to test what the detective tells you to, or something like that. And I mean that's not anything against the detective or the police, but there is that imbalance. Like if somebody like Kathy Mabbitt is supposed to be on scene, you know, she should have that authority to be able to just walk
They're
through.
there.
And
They're there for a
yeah.
reason. They were hired for that job for a reason. Let them do their job, and if they don't know how to do it, then get rid of them. Don't hire somebody, for McDonald's to make burgers, and don't let
Hmm.
them make burgers. You know, you let them
Hmm.
make burgers, and you figure out
Yeah,
if they can make burgers or not. Like, you don't
otherwise all the
no.
pickles will be on the bottom.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because they were too busy working on fries the whole time. They got hired to work on burgers. They never had a chance to work on burgers, even though that's what they were hired to do. And
Hmm.
and then and then when they did work on burgers, they had somebody looking over them, and so they got all nervous and put the pickles on the bottom because the person watching them wasn't watching them good enough. Yes, you let them do their job, and
Yeah.
and and we'll see. That's one of the documents I've waited for, and I've wanted to see it since there isn't going to be a trial, and we knew there wasn't
Hmm.
going to be a trial in the beginning of July last year. That's one of the documents I wanted to see, because since it's not going to be argued in court, because that stuff that we're discussing would have been argued in the trial with the medical examiners and the professionals. They would have told you how they came to the conclusion of the K bar, whether it was assuming based off of the sheath or based off of actual science, and determining the different puncture lengths of each wound and why they came to that conclusion. So once that paper comes out, I really think like what you're gonna see and what you're not gonna see is gonna answer like so many other things that we maybe would have never thought we would have got an answer for. But just
Right.
because it wasn't there or was there, that makes the difference in the world as to answers for different things. And I really think that it is going to answer so much. Also, how the police handled their investigation too.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
of
many things.
course.
So many things. Let me see. Notice how PCA describes. Yes, yeah, it does. It does state, and that's like my argument when it comes to two weapons is you got the sharp, this way, and then you got the blunt force. Because if
Hmm.
you look at the like Joseph Scott Morgan said, it's not just the handle; it's actually a freaking hammer. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, think about a hammer, okay, right? And think about it. If you got that in your hand and it's hitting just like a hammer, that's blunt force. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where I'm at when it comes to now, like I said, it totally could be two weapons. It totally could be. But to me, it's always been the butt of the K knife, and that goes back all the way to a few weeks after the crime took place, and somebody reached out and told me about her face being like this, and it went like this, and I instantly thought
Yeah.
it was somebody that was, you know,
Mm. Yeah. I mean, it does make sense. It does.
the blunt force, because that has been the thing from it was the sharp and the blunt, just like Kathy Mabbitt said, she, they've said different things, but I just, unless it's like something, she even said like rips and stuff, and so you think about the back of the K-bar knife. We heard the Gonzalez family say that he didn't have to do some of the things that he did to Kaylee. We've heard different things about experimentation being done on one of the victims. And so you put all of that together and you look at the other side of the K bar, it has that jagged edge to it. And you can literally,
Yeah.
do that stuff. So to me, it just not that any of this other, because I don't know, I wasn't there, and those documents haven't came out yet. But to me, just like with BK's guilt, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going each day where the evidence and the
Hmm.
information leads me, and it's not biased to either way. It really isn't. So, uh, yeah, when it comes to that, but I want to play this. I don't know. Do you want to check out? I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to check out the Turvy stuff first, and we focus on that, and then do the audio of the Maddie, allegedly Maddie being attacked? Do that afterwards, or do you want to do that first and then focus on the Dr. Brent Turvey interview? Because this is your night. You're the forensic icon of the show, and it's your episode that we are going to be checking out tonight. So you lead the way, Miss Rosie.
Okay, well let's go with the allegedly Maddie video
All right,
first.
we'll go with that. All right. So one thing I want to explain to everybody real quick. Okay. So when it comes to this audio, um, when I was out there, uh, when I went out there for the year anniversary, the boots on the ground, I did some testing there. A lot of it was audio testing. Okay. So in the spring, summer of 2023 is when the Linda Lane video came out, and we did the deep dive on the Linda Lane video. So I had already broken all of that down already. Okay. I went out to Moscow in November of 2023. So just a couple months later, after breaking down the Linda Lane video in 2023, then I made my trip out there to Moscow, Idaho. So having all of that already in my mind, all of that stuff being broke down, that's why I did some of the testing that I did when I was out there. And a lot of it also included acoustics. Okay. And so I want to share a couple photos here, and then I'm going to kind of explain what I'm going to call the sound bubble. Okay, it's there's a certain way how sound acoustics move, and there's a certain way that sound acoustics react. All right, and based off of the layout and the knowledge of the testing and the boots on the ground, I'm gonna kind of explain that sound bubble and what it means. So the first picture I'm going to show is, give me 1 second. So the first picture I'm going to show is this photo right here. Okay. So this is a photo from the back of the house right after the crime took place. Okay. Because you could even see Ethan's Jeep right there. So, when it comes to this slope, and this is what I'm saying right here. You got these cinder blocks and stuff sitting here,
Mhm.
and you see how low it is from here to here with this slope of the hill.
Yeah.
That's This is one of the best angles to show, like, um, how that is a prime area to get in. But I want you to focus on this hill. You see how high it is, and you see Ethan's Jeep, right? This is the road right here, and this is where the bottom of somebody's tire would be that's parked on the side of that road. So you can see the huge elevation change when it comes to where the road is and when it comes to where the house is. Okay, literally, if when I was standing right here, okay, I'm standing right here. This right here is damn near level of this right here. Like that's how high. So just to give you that visual, I'm standing here. It's literally just about right on the same level as the floor of that third floor deck. Okay. So when you're thinking about the sound waves, you already this is the bottom of where somebody's tire would be. So you're thinking about the car, you're thinking about the trees, you're thinking about the shrubs, you're thinking about all of these things that affect sound waves. Number 1, I'm starting from the scene of the crime and we're going to work our way back. Okay? So now that I showed you that, I'm going to bring this bird's eye view up. Okay, so this right here shows a map of where 11, whoops, hold on. Okay, this right here shows a map of where 1122 is, okay? Now, I showed you the side right here where you saw you saw let me zoom in. Where you saw that side picture of the back of the house, okay? You saw how high it is, right? Now, all through here, okay, you got trees, you got all of these trees right here too. You got trees back here. Now, if these sound waves were going to travel, you can be for sure that they're traveling in that direction. The reason that they're traveling in that direction is because these trees and these bushes and these buildings create a false barrier. That false barrier, you have to think about like if you drop a penny in a well and how each of those waves bounce off and then they bounce off of, they keep bouncing and bouncing, right? All of those sound, now some of them are going to slip through. They're going to slip through there. Some of them are going to slip through up there. Some of them are going to slip through right there. But your majority are going to slip through in this direction. Okay. Now, the only other way that these sound waves could travel is through this area or through this area, which is highly unlikely for the arrow that's on the bottom. So, the most likely area for these sound waves to travel is through this slight area that goes between the Queen Road apartments. Now, when you're thinking about, we go back to the beginning, you're thinking about the elevation, you're thinking about the natural barrier, and you're thinking about where most of these sound waves are going. There's not very many that are going in this direction. Okay. Now, when you take that into consideration, one of the things that I did test is sound that travels from this area. So, sound that travels from this area while I'm here. Because we know that the Linda Lane camera was recording this area right here. Okay. So I'm sitting right here and I'm doing testing. I'm doing audio testing to see if I can hear cars that are driving through this part of the street or over here. Because if I can hear a car, then I know the level of sound that compared to what might be coming through the window of the crime scene, right? So I did 3 tests. I did a test right there. I did a test standing right here. I also did a test right here. I did 3 separate audio tests. So, and I used cars driving through here to be able to determine the audio level, because you know how loud a car is. Then you can test that to the sound of voices. Okay. So, with those testing, I'm going to tell you right now, when I was sitting over here, I barely even heard the car.
Really?
Barely even heard the car at all. When I was here is when I heard it a little bit. And when I was here, not this one shocked me when I was at this spot right here. And let me give you a different circle. When I was at this spot right here, it shocked me, Rosie, because I expected the acoustics to be reverberating all the way through that little tunnel area. And I was very shocked. I was shocked because it was actually quieter than I even assumed it would be. So, when it comes to that, now I'm going to break down the sound bubble. Okay. The sound bubble. Again, I'm going to go back to how sound waves work. Sound waves work just like dropping a penny in water, and you see the waves and how they bounce. It's the same thing. You have a structure here, you have a structure here, you have a structure here, you have bushes and trees here, you have a structure here, you have a structure here, you have bushes and trees here. You don't have very much room at all for sound waves that are coming from outside to interrupt any of those sound waves that are inside what I call the sound bubble. And this is the sound bubble right here. Okay. So when you're looking at this specific area, and I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it a little better, this is what I call the sound bubble. So when it comes to the Linda Lane audio and what you're hearing on the Linda Lane audio, you are hearing sounds that are coming from the sound bubble. Now, this is based off of the audio testing that I did, my boots on the ground, and the breakdown of all the testing that I just showed you. Also, showing you and giving you the map of the house and where everything is sitting elevation wise. Okay. So, when it comes to this sound bubble, Linda Lane audio is coming from this sound bubble. Any audio that would be maybe slightly making it through this area right here is already going to get muffled out by the time that it hits this sound bubble. Now, when it comes to this sound bubble, being there, boots on the ground, and this is what you don't see, being bird's eye on Google, you have so many windows and apartment buildings right there in that sound bubble. So that's why I'm saying that any audio from Linda Lane, if somebody's screaming, they're in one of these areas right here. They're either in this specific area, they're either in this specific area of this part of the apartment, they're either in one of these residents of this apartment, they're either in one of these apartments that is towards this here, or they're in one of these apartments right here. If anybody's screaming or making noise or making sounds, it is coming from the sound bubble. And if it's not coming from the sound bubble, then it's coming from any of those residents that have apartments in those red circles that I mapped out. That right there is why I don't even feel that when it comes to Maddie, uh, the name being called out and such like that, eh, because to me, the we heard the TV. We can go back to the breakdown that we did in the spring of 2023, summer of 2023, and even when I did my boots on the ground work in 23 in November. We broke this all down because there was a lot of, we thought in the very beginning too, before we broke it down, that there was sounds that were coming from that house. But I'm telling you right now, when I went there boots on the ground and I did my testing, it blew my mind away because that's when it was confirmed that any of that stuff that took place in that house, 1112 would have picked it up if Linda Lane picked it up, and 1112 did not pick up what Linda Lane picked up. And that's how you know, again, doubling down, it's the sound bubble or any of those residents located in those red circles. Because think about it. If Linda Lane, based off of my testing, boots on the ground that I did out there, based off my testing, if Linda Lane was able to pick up, then 1112 would have definitely picked it up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's something that I've never understood. So that whole thing that you just did really helped, like, because I don't get the sound stuff. So I also just wanted to say for people on the audio only, right, that we're kind of around 1 hour 20 where you.
Right now we're at the 1 hour, but at the 1 hour, but it's probably about the 1 hour mark is when we started. But just based off of what I'm saying, you can already picture sound barriers, structures, trees, bushes, the elevation change, how the bottom of a car tire on the street next to the house is at the same level as the third floor deck. You know what I mean? So there's a, you can kind of picture it. But yes, if you want to see the maps, yes, you'll want to go to about the 1 hour mark of the stream.
Okay. Yeah, that really helped to see that because it's not something.
I'll put out
like,
a video for it too. I'll put out a video for it as well. So definitely, if you are, check it out and let me know what you think when it comes to this breakdown. And yeah, I'll put out a video and I'll have it uploaded for you guys tomorrow morning or afternoon, because really it's one of these things that I broke down a long time ago, being boots on the ground. I had just got done breaking down. I think we did like 4 or 5 or 6 long ass streams breaking down the deep dives of the video, maybe more. It was like a week and a half or something. But I remember, and when I went out there, that's one of the main things that I wanted to test besides the PCA route, looking for how many cameras were on the route that the killer would have took if they didn't want to get caught on cameras, all of these different things. And that's one of the main things I wanted to focus on too, was that audio testing, because that Linda Lane camera, there was so much speculation with it, and that's one of the things that needed to be answered. So but yeah, I'll put out a video. So
yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing this video of alleged Maddie, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll play it. I'm just gonna play. It's like a small clip. I'm gonna share the channel. Like I said, I don't know. I wasn't there. Could it be?
Right.
It could be. Right? It could be. But I'm just giving you my opinion and my theories and the boots on the ground work that I did and how I determined where I'm coming from and what I'm thinking. But to me, it's kind of hard to hear. It does sound like somebody's like saying, "Don't quit fucking with Maddie" and this and that. But then at the same time, you think about the crime scene and you're like, when did we hear somebody say that on 1112?
Right.
Again,
Exactly.
again with the testing and me being shocked. Wow, these audio level tests are like way lower than what I even expected, and we didn't hear it on 1112. you really have to like keep that into consideration because 1112 does give you a lot, and it's really horrific when you listen to some of the parts. It's really
Yeah.
horrific, but you would have heard, these things. So I'll play it for you real quick. Give me 1 second, and then we'll get into Dr. Turvey's episode. Give me 1 second here. Yes, I will put out a video
Thanks.
later on tonight, or I mean tomorrow. I think it's important. All right.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Sorry.
No, I just said yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
also think it's important.
Okay, so I got to get the channel link here. 1 second. So here's the channel. It's True Crime Forensics YouTube channel focusing on video and audio forensics in true crime. And so here's their channel. And give me 1 second. I got to add this. Actually, here, let me just do this. So I'll go ahead and display that. And this is the video of Maddie. All right, so let me go ahead and sorry about all the
No worries.
dead air here. All right, so here's this.
It's okay.
Okay, so he's going to talk about it for like about a minute or so, and then he's going to play the audio. I'm going to go ahead and mute my music when the audio's playing. We'll listen to it a couple times. Let me know what you think. Do you, and then also you as well, Rosee. Wait a minute, 1 second. I think I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, this one right here on Madison Mogan. Okay. All right, so let me get to this one. Let's see, where does it start? Right. Let me see here. Oh, it's 11:12. 1 second. Because he talks for a while. I'm trying to see. Maybe it's right here. Let me see here. I saw Linda Lane, and it was maybe it was this one. Maybe it was this one.
Same video up 2 years ago. Right there, you could hear Maddie scream. Check it out.
See, you hear how loud that is?
Yeah.
Like, you're not hearing that. So the sound bubble, that's any of this sound right here.
Maddie scream. Check it out.
See, that is like so crazy loud for that sound to be traveling through to the Linda Lane camera. And that was supposedly let me see, multi-band compressor, hard limiter, reduced noise, and equalizer. Some kind of program that I forgot the name that he says the program is.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And I think
So let me.
I know when a lot of people put out these audios and they say that it's part of the crime. I I struggle with that because I don't think that, how do I explain this? I don't think that the crime would have been short bursts of sound. I think it would have been, if you could hear it, which I don't think you could, I think it would have been a continuous noise. Like, I, I just don't see how you would get like a little bit and then that's all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you just assume, that nobody does that, but like you don't know for sure. But um, when it comes to the sound bubble with that sound, um, because that's kind of the part that like stuck out to me was that big loud scream, and then I saw the Linda Lane camera, and I'm like, the whole sound
Mm,
bubble is why I wanted to break it down. I'm gonna go ahead uh, and play this other part too.
okay.
This part with the 1112. Um, it's not part of the crime, but it's evidence and what was occurring and when yes, for it to matter. But still, audio. Yeah, it is. It always is. It always is because you can tell when footage is manipulated.
Yeah.
It's very hard to tell when audio is manipulated. Yeah, so it is hard to rely on. What's up, Love Tina? How you doing? What's up, Stevo? Yeah, it is eerie. Just especially like this 1112 audio. I remember when it came out, we were kind of breaking it down. This I did the Linda Lane way back in 23, but when this audio came out after the plea deal, um, and actually right before, because we heard some of it on those docs that came out, but
Yeah.
after that, you heard, even though some of it was still redacted, you heard a lot more than what was, because it was just a small clip that
Yeah.
those docs put out, but from those mainstream medias. But once the real documents came out, that's when it was horrific. I remember hearing some of it. I remember hearing some of it, and it crushed your heart. It
Yeah.
crushed your heart, like hearing the crime take place.
Yeah, it's hard to hear. It really is. I mean, I always say I'm not entirely sure if I trust it and stuff like that, but regardless, just hearing that, it's like, I mean, I know that we've been aware of the crime the whole time, but it makes it real once you've heard parts of it. It's like it's just different.
Yeah, it is. You can, especially Xana, like like you could really hear Xana, and I don't know. We'll listen to this part. I'm not exactly sure because when I heard the audio earlier, um, I didn't read. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's like this when you're looking. So, like with the title of the video, I was looking to hear Maddie, and
Hmm.
so it kind of like because I already heard the audio and that wasn't what I heard. But then when I see the title and I'm like, your brain kind of makes you try to hear Maddie, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Like,
It does. Yeah.
I already heard it before and I didn't hear that, but I'm checking this out, and my brain like subconsciously is trying to
Yeah.
hear Maddie, I guess
It
is a
does
better
that.
way
Yeah.
to put it. Um, and it kind of I just kind of left like going, I don't even know what I heard anymore. It kind of left it like it was like my brain was like I was looking for this. I couldn't exactly
Yeah.
hear it. but my brain had already decided a long time ago that it heard what it heard, and so it was like those two parts of my brain were like trying to decide who
Mhm.
like which one is gonna dominate the other one, like what thought
Yeah.
is
Yeah, and I mean, that's it's so interesting that you bring that up because it's making me think of some of the stuff that Ann Taylor was saying about the witnesses or the survivors or whatever we call them. I can't remember. And how when they were interviewed, it's like there's just very subtle things that you can introduce into their brain, like eyebrows and stuff, and then they can think that like it's like it that
yeah.
reminded me of that because your brain does look for things and it doesn't even fully understand where it came from. So it's interesting that you said all of that because I mean I didn't hear Maddie at all. But I'm pretty sure now if I start listening to it again, I'm gonna be like, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't not that it isn't, because like I said, with all of
Mhm.
this stuff, it's my opinion, my theories, my thoughts, I wasn't there. Now, if I was there, I'd be able to tell you the damn truth about everything that that took place,
Yeah.
what happened, how it would, the
Okay. Yeah.
order, all of that stuff, but I wasn't. And so all I can go is off of my own work, my experiences, you know, uh, and then also analytics and probabilities and statistics and all those things too. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna play the little clip of it. Definitely go sub, show some love to the channel. I always appreciate anybody that wants to dig into something. We can never have too many of us digging into stuff. Also, this is the other audio that we were discussing tonight. If you haven't checked it out, please do and let me know what you think in the comment section of the video. This, to me, was proof that what we heard from the very beginning, that one of the victims was a confidential informant. And I kind of elaborated a little more on, you know, what I was thinking when it comes to that and how it changes things or uh, adds conclusions to some things or answers some things. I think it does change a lot now that there is actual audio confirmation. So check that out if you haven't yet, and let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm sure we'll be talking about it for quite a while. And then also, here's another video to check out if you haven't yet. This is my opinion based off of everything that's come out. And then this video was actually before the confidential informant video, which I didn't hear yet. And so now with the informant video, with the audio of that, this right here is validated even more to me. It really is. So this is kind of like, it's weird. This is like, it's kind of interesting how it happened. Like this, and
Mhm.
then the confidential informant, and then the confidential informant doubles down even more on this. It's kind of interesting. So check those out if you haven't. Save them to your watch later or a playlist, and come on back and enjoy the show. So I'm gonna play this little clip. This is from the 2:43 mark. Let me see here. Actually, let me do this instead. Let me who had, I think it's Idaho Video Archive. Are you
Mhm.
familiar? Is that, what's that channel name?
I think it's just called Idaho 4 Archives.
Idaho
Let
Idaho,
me check.
because I'd like to use I would like to use their video of the 1112 just to promote them as well.
Mhm.
I think that's who it is. If I'm
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't. I should have had that prepared. I didn't even think about it,
No,
but I want to promote them too.
I'm also
So,
look.
yeah, sorry.
No, I'm also looking for you. Well,
I can't remember what they're called. No, not Linda Lane. We're looking for the 1112. Um let me see here. Is the audio or is it? I couldn't tell you. Resist. I couldn't tell you. I'm not an audio expert when it comes to those programs and stuff like that. Now, can I audio boost and clean stuff up? Of course I can. But can I tell somebody that something was manipulated? I I'm I couldn't say either way when it comes to that. You know what I mean? So it has been distorted according to Stone. Um,
just
Linda.
check. Sorry, check private chat and see if that's what you were looking for.
Okay. Let me see here. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. Let me see videos. Okay,
Yeah, I
need.
agree about
Okay,
the
there it is.
distortion. Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Let me see here. It doesn't say. I don't see the. It doesn't say the time on the video. Hold on. Okay, so this is 3:30. So that's 3:30. I thought they had other ones on there. I guess it doesn't have it earlier. Is there a video of it that is the time frame of from around 2:30
Let me see.
from 2:30, 2:45, 3 o'clock, basically before somewhere between 2:40 and 3 o'clock.
Not that I can see.
I thought there was a. I thought there was a. I thought there was an extended version, like multiple, like there was like a 10. Does that ring a bell? Like there was, I feel like there was it was like 6,
It
7,
does
8,
ring a
9
bell.
hours long, something like that. Now I will say one thing, and this is what I have experienced when it comes to certain audios, that if it sounds like it's underwater, it is manipulated. So I see
Really?
a comment. Yeah, I see a comment. I do know that for a fact because when there's been certain, like with some of my songs, okay, like these songs that you hear in the background, you got like this song, and you got like this song, and you got like not that song. You got just I don't have the other ones loaded, but sometimes, yeah, like I would obviously I'm manipulating audio to make these songs, and sometimes when I'm doing that and manipulating the audio to make the songs, some of it sounds like it's underwater, and that's because it got tweaked too much. And so it does sound like it's underwater. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened because I don't know. I just checked out the little bit of the video. I haven't checked out or dug into it like some of you have. But I can say when it comes to underwater sound, yeah, that is, to me, that is a sign of some kind of manipulation. Oh, Jules Oh, Jules put one
I
out.
was just typing that.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah, I love Jules.
Yeah, I think she's the one who got. I think she's the one who got it. Now that I'm,
Yeah, let's
because
play
when I
her.
search for it, that's what
I'd love
comes up
to. I'd love
first.
to share her
Okay.
channel out. Yeah, she's been doing a hell of a lot
Okay.
of work. Like, shout out to her and her community.
Yeah.
They've been getting a lot of the documents. So shout out to her and her community. Putting in a lot of work.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, thank you, Stone. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting us. Sunshine, also, thank you for letting us know. Let me see here. It took me days to figure out how to clean. Yeah. The underwater. Yeah, that's a good sign. But I don't know, when it comes to the sound that we heard in the Linda Lane, the sound bubble. You're definitely not hearing it like that. It was crazy. I assumed, like, before I went out there, I assumed that little tunnel there between the Queen Road apartments, that little walkway area, I really assumed like sound would be like reverberating so crazy that it might actually be able to travel far, because the more the more reverberation would make it would give it like a stronger length of trail when it comes to the travel, but it really didn't. I was completely shocked with that part of it. Also, we're going to be going. Go ahead.
No, I just said I'm sorry for taking long. I'll be right with you.
No, you're fine. Also, when it shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well, I'll remember at some point. Maybe it created like a cave effect. Well, that's the thing with that testing that I did, Stone. I could barely even hear it when I was standing, in that circle that was in the middle of those Queen Road apartments. I could barely even hear the car drive by when I was standing there, and that's what really shocked me, because I'm like, that's what really told me, like, it would have been faint. It would have been faint. It kind of like, it told me a lot. It would have been faint with the Linda Lane camera, and 1112 definitely would have picked it up like 50 times louder, because that camera right there, it was so close to Xana's window. Now, when it comes to Maddie and Kaylee's room, 11 with how sound waves work, 1112 faint, because sound waves don't travel that far with cold weather either. The colder it is, the more the sound waves dissipate and don't travel. So with it being that cold, the sound wave direction is going to be hitting trees, which is going to muffle it. It's not going to bounce it as much, because the trees, it's almost like it's like a filter, but it's not a great filter. So a lot of it'll slip through, only some of it will bounce back. You mix that with the cold, the distance, the sound would have to travel through those houses. It would. That's why I feel like it would be faint even with the 11-12 camera when it comes to Maddie in Kaylee's room. Now Xana's room,
Mhm.
yeah, you're hearing everything. How far are these cameras? The camera is only about 60. They said 50 feet, I believe, in the PCA, but I did measure it. And to get to the camera, it was, I think, 60. It was like 60 some feet. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I did send you something in private chat, but I can't find the exact right thing. I'm sorry. For some reason.
Let me see here. No, we just need the 240 mark. So we're good. All
Okay,
right, give me
it
one.
should be in there somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, I found it. Can you do me never mind. Here, let me because I want to share her channel too, so I gotta get.
I can get that. Hold on.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so here's her channel, and shout out to her. We love her. All right. All right. So we're gonna check out this video here. All right. So we're at the 240 mark. So it's about the 243 mark. So let me share this. So it's about the 243 mark when it happens. Definitely go show. Oop, let me hit like on that too. I don't even think I saved this one. All right, so I'm gonna mute the music. We're gonna let it play through, and then we'll see what you guys hear. So I don't know. I just based off of all of those different things when it comes to the sound, I just really feel like whatever we are hearing is Xana. If the male voice that you hear, if it is Ethan saying quit fucking with Maddie, we didn't see Ethan when it comes to the crime scene. Ethan never moved out of the bed as far as we know.
Yeah.
And so don't fuck with Maddie, that doesn't really go along with what the crime, how the crime went down and all that. So all right, so we're gonna mute the music. This is the 158 mark of the stream. You really don't have to watch anything on the camera. It's just basically all gonna be audio, and then I'll play it a couple times and you guys let me know what you think. Those are the sounds that you would have been hearing out of Xana's room. Okay. So as you're hearing those audio levels, that is the sound. Now, there talking going on in the hallway, such, and coming through Xana's window? Yeah, that would be the sound level. If there was some really loud talking going on, it was traveling through the house and exiting through Xana's window.
Okay.
And yes, if it is triggering, okay, like we were just talking about a minute ago, It's horrific to listen to. It hurts your heart. So just heads up, we're listening to that part that I'm saying is Xana. Okay. Now, I just want to explain we could also be hearing a freaking party that's going on. We have to keep that in mind because we are listening to this audio, listening for a crime, but
Mhm.
really are just like a little bit our ears and our eyes can lie to us. If we're looking for something, our eyes will see it even though it might not be there, and our ears will hear it even though it might not be there. So just keep in mind that do I believe this is when the crime took place between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning? I've always felt that way. Always. But we have to keep in mind that what we're hearing, even though it sounds really freaking horrific, it literally could be a party that was going on because of how the sound gets muffled through the cold air, the reverberations and all of the different things that happen to that sound wave as it travels. So just keep that in mind as we listen to this. Does it sound like somebody's crying? Yes, it does. Even if it's a party, it sounds like somebody's crying. That right there, I think, is pretty clear. Like right there, you heard a thump, right? You instantly think Xana and the thump that was on the ground.
Mhm.
Now, also, you have to think if a thump, now, based off of what I kind of explained in both areas, the sound bubble and Linda Lane, and you take that and you kind of go into what I was saying about the trees behind Kaylee and Maddie's room that they were in and the sound and all that other stuff. Now, even with the sound when it comes to Xana and traveling through that window, that kind of thump right there, if it really took place inside the house, do you understand how loud that thump would have had to been inside the house to sound like that on this camera. They would have been body slammed like they were in WWE match.
Yeah.
Like that's how hard it would have had to be in order to end up on this audio. So just, there's different sounds and things like that, but um that's again why I kind of keep referring to the party, because that sound can be a door shutting. It can, it can be a bunch of different things when there's a lot of activity, people talking, there's screaming going on. You know, parties, ping pongs, there could be so many things going, going on at this point. So we're getting to the part.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. I think despite how it sounds, and I mean, we can all hear how it sounds, it is also important to try and keep a level head about it. I mean,
With anything.
there's a lot of things it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, with anything. This is why I really wish there would have been a trial for these uh, prolific experts to be able to kind of just, break it all down straight from the prosecution's evidence folder to, right there, not anything that could be potentially manipulated or anything like that. Straight from the discovery. All right, so we're getting up to that point, and we're gonna try and see if we hear that now. There's a lot of muffling. There's a lot of discussion now. We can kind of look into the other audio a little more deeper into the next episode if you guys would like to. I still wouldn't mind, but we do have to get to this Dr. Turvey episode, and we're running a little bit late on that. So if you want to dig into it more, we can on the next episode and kind of see, maybe compare the difference between Jules and the other one and see if there is consistencies in the audio as well, right? So we could do
Yeah.
that as well. Whistle two for Linda picks up immediate whistle after the first whistle. Yeah, Linda Lane, man, that was a very interesting deep dive. I actually the people that put it out there, we kind of knew they kind of did some fuckery. The people that put it out there, they kind of did some fuckery on some people, um, and we kind of knew it was coming out before it came out, because we knew the people that did the fuckery, and they got it. And when they told us they got it, it was like bullshit. And then, yeah, and then it came out. It was like, damn. But then at that time, you didn't even know if it was real or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, it was because that's when I started working with Tommy and Rory before any of that stuff, and we were actually, it was us three. There were other people that would come in here and there and stuff that we would share stuff with, but really it was just me, Tommy, and Rory, that were working together at the top, so to speak. And then there were some other people that started working with us, that some of the other people didn't have any idea about. And those were the ones that put the Linda Lane video out. And when I learned of all the fuckery, that's when I kind of I warned the others, like, I can't roll like that. I can't do those things, to obtain stuff. And so I'm like, I'm cool. I'm not really interested in working with those people anymore. And that's when I kind of backed away from Rory and Tommy and working with them on some stuff, because that was just I don't know, it was
Yeah.
it's just not the kind of vibe or people that I wanted to be around with those other people. Me and Tommy and Rory, it was we in the very beginning. I actually introduced Tommy and Rory to a lot of the other people that I was hanging around with back then, but yeah, when me and Tommy and Rory were working together in the very beginning before any of this other stuff, it was we were we were discovering a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
It was a really good trio that we had, and we all had the same mission, the same passion, the same ethic, the same care and concern when it comes to. So yes, Miss Tommy, love you, buddy, and you know,
Yeah.
I know there's some people that are kind of misrepresenting some things to make themselves look or appear bigger than or more important than what they were, because but Rory knows. You know what I mean. Rory knows what I'm saying, and shout out to him too. I love you too, buddy. Um, but Rory knows what I'm saying when it comes to me, Tommy, and Rory. And yeah, shout out to Tommy. I was it was
Yeah.
during my break. It was during my break when Tommy passed, and I have to be honest with you, when Tommy passed, and I was kind of dealing with my own mental health stuff, and then also, some other stuff with family and things like that, and when he passed, and I started I started reflecting on the trio stuff. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry, CJ.
Just a second. I started reflecting. I started reflecting on it brought me back,
Yeah.
and and it helped. It helped. It helped me through the process that I was going through. It it was also part of the reason that I decided to come back,
Yeah.
because when I reflected on those times, it made me it made me remember the passion, and when I remembered the passion, it made me feel the passion, and when I felt that passion, it made me feel okay. to
Yeah.
do to to do it again. And so, even though it's tough that he's gone, when he passed, I was already going through like 3 months, 2 or 3 months of my break, and it still took a little bit longer, another month and a half, 2 months to even be back. But after he passed, but I really needed that reflection.
Yeah.
And the reflection word is like one of his biggest series that he did, and that's what I needed, was the reflection of the passion, because that's why we all do what we do. And I'm sorry to get emotional.
No, don't be sorry at all.
This is not this wasn't in the prep,
Of course
but
not.
but yeah.
And I think he would be glad for that, just knowing.
We were good friends.
Yeah, I know.
We were really good friends.
I know you were close.
Yeah. We didn't talk as much, towards the end there. We were both kind of really busy with a lot of things going on outside of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to just say I love you, Tommy. All right.
He loved you too.
All right. All right. Let's all right. So we're gonna get to this. I apologize. We're gonna get to this audio part. Yeah, if you're on the vertical stream, it's a vertical stream audio only podcast on there. All right. So we're gonna get to this audio. Sorry about that break. But we love you, Tommy, and we're always thinking about you, buddy. All right. All right. All right, back to this audio. Okay. One thing that you can notice when it comes to this audio at this time period is that the sounds are consistent. They don't, it's not, how do I put this? Um, it's not multiple actions being spread out, right? It's
Right.
a constant, like it's not, there's, um, the
Consistency.
consistency, it's fluid, I guess is a
Mhm.
better word. It's fluid. It's not spotty. It's
Mhm.
fluid. Um, and so that's why I'm gonna still think that yes, does some of it sound like a crime? Does it fit the timeline? And we'll go through this some more too. Shout out to Jules Lover. Um, we'll go through this more too, but it kind of goes along with the, it could really be a party, that would be a fluid sound. A party atmosphere would be a fluid sound.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, I guess it is possible that it's connected to the crime in some
Yeah,
way, but
yeah,
at the same time, it could also be like some people are like most of us are still not quite sure about the timeline of the crime. And just with the way it's not, it is consistent in the sounds, but it's not really consistent in sounding like a struggle to me. So it could almost be the aftermath of the crime, maybe like somebody seeing the scene as well. I mean, I know that's a bit of a reach, but there's like what I mean is there's a lot of possibilities on what we could be hearing, like
yeah,
many possibilities.
yeah, yeah. Especially at that time, and you got to remember this is around the time when Kaylee uh, was calling Jack.
Right. Yeah.
So, um, we just we'll go through it some more. Both
Mhm.
audios. We'll go through it. Again, if you haven't listened to this audio, this is the one um, when it comes to the proof that finally confirmation, from all this time that has gone by, finally there's confirmation that one of the victims was a confidential informant, which totally changes a lot.
Everything.
I would, yeah, if they said Xana was fighting, I would think we would hear more chaos. Yeah, that too. But also you have to remember this too, okay? Um, when you have a stab injury to your lung or lungs, it's very hard to project any kind of sound. Um, and so she could she could have fought back and barely made any sound through her voice, because um if you are punctured, it is really hard to speak. Or I mean, the amount the amount of air that you need to breathe to yell takes a lot. Just think, like, you could inhale all the air you can inhale and then scream real loud and see how quick you need to take a humongous breath again. That's a lot. It's a lot of air that you exert, um, the louder you speak. Let
Yeah.
me see. I asked that because so much. Yeah, there was a lot of hatred. The crimes of passion. The crimes of passion. There's hatred and passion. Passion is feelings, and passion is direct feelings. You know, um, enlarged feelings that can also go in another direction. Of course, one of the girls like drawing stuff. Yeah, I did see, like, you had drawings in Dylan's room. You had there was a sheet with a drawing on Xana's room. You know,
Yeah.
there's especially Dylan's room. I mean, that was the craziest thing when we saw a picture of Dylan's room and it had a bunch of one eye with eyebrows and stuff. And it's like, what's up with the one eye all over? Just one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes along with the witness statement.
Of one eyebrow. Right.
One. Just one. Just one. It is kind of crazy.
It is.
All right. Let's get into, let me see. Well, we're at 2:30 already. 1 second. I gotta find the video.
No problem.
We've pulled up so many other things. My prep kind of got scattered all over now.
Yeah, she definitely had a thing for eyes, it seems. I mean, the defense mentioned that too.
Well, let me ask you, because it's our show and we can do whatever we want to.
Okay.
Let me get my plate. Because listen, this is when you jibber jabber and you have 3-hour lives where you talk and it's spontaneous and it's focused on what you prep for and also focused on the conversation that happens in chat. It's
Yes.
I love it. This is why I love, I could easily sit there and do what most people do and just post videos, of me like
Yeah.
talking about something. But the reason that I keep coming back to lives and the reason that I'll always do lives is because I love the interaction while you're doing a live stream. The thoughts that we all can discuss live, which breeds other thoughts, that then breeds other theories, that then breeds other ideas, and there's so much creativity that happens during a live stream instead of the video upload. It's a one-way avenue. I'm
Right.
the only one that's other than the chat, the comments, but we're not interacting live and interacting in a live forum live, and that's why I love it so much. And so sometimes when you do have conversations and things, are just on the fly, that's what I love it, on the fly, then these things happen where we kind of go 2.5 hours, Rosie, and we were only supposed to go about 1 hour into the stuff that we started in the beginning of the show. But that's the beautiful part of this. It's all organic and it always will be. It's never one-sided. It's always mutual. It's always instant, on the fly, in real time. And that's why I love it. So I have to ask you this because we kind of blew the timeline outline out of the water. Do you want to focus on the Dr. Turvey episode on the next show, so then we can give that episode more time, or do you mind going another? I'm just going to be, because let's see. Let me see exactly how long this episode is. I haven't checked it out. 108. So if we're looking at 108, I always give about 75 to 100% of the same time to add commentary and discussion during what I'm going to present when it comes to video form. So that would put us at about 2 hours to 2.5 hours beyond where we're at now. So because I'm fine, because after we're done, I'm probably going to be playing some games, streaming some games, either at my TV channel or here. probably at my TV channel. If you're not subbed up, look up EvilleCJ TV, or I'll drop a link in a second. You can go sub up and meet me over there sometime. But I'm going to be up regardless. What do you feel like doing? Do you feel like doing another 2.5 hours to then cover that part, or do you want to save that segment for the next show?
I'm fine to keep going. I don't know how chat is feeling, but I do think the episode kind of deserved, like Dr. Turvey's episode does deserve like an in-depth analysis. So
It's totally it's up to you, because we can talk about some other stuff for the rest of the show, and I can, we can. I just I like to. I just want to make sure that I want to respect your wishes, and I also want to respect the content as well. So that's
yeah,
the only reason why I'm asking.
yeah, I'm happy to keep going. I don't mind at all. I can
All
do
right.
2 hours.
2.5 hours. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see here. Let me see here. 1 second. Oh no! I mean, it's we're all a team. We all work together. Walk away and you hear whistle. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, like I said, we broke it down in the spring, summer of 2023, and there's a lot of crazy, like the person running across and all that. Yeah. What were the choices? I had to add. Well, it was going another 2.5 hours to focus on the Dr. Brent Turvey segment of the show. I kind of went a little too long. You started a true crime channel, Bianca? Oh, that's awesome. Send me the link. Send me an email. I'd like to have you on sometime. That's awesome. But yeah, we were talking about either doing another 2.5 hours or saving it for the next live. We were actually discussing doing a morning show tomorrow, like early in the morning. And so it was one of those things where it was like we could either cover it now, or you know what? Maybe we
DJ
should.
has, yeah.
Maybe we should save it for the morning, honestly,
Okay.
and just focus on that. And you know what? Maybe this is my idea, because there was, remember that other episode? Remember it was down to 2 episodes, Rosee.
Yes, it was.
Why don't we save that for the morning, and instead of covering one, we cover both?
Yes. Okay, let's do 2.
Ooh, oh, there we go.
That was a light bulb moment.
There we go. Because I'm like, well, wait a minute, that'd give us enough time to cover 2 of them. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We'll just we'll keep this one to the audio and the Dr. Turvey stuff for tomorrow. So what was the other one? That it was the crime scene effect and crime lab crisis, and there was what else?
It was about crime scene staging. I think it was episode 8.
Okay, crime scenes. There we go. Crime scene effects, staging, and crime lab crisis. Is it crisis or crisis? Probably crisis, huh?
Probably crises. I don't know. I'm the one with the funny accent. You guys decide.
Multiple. Yeah, so there we go. So that's what it'll be focused on, and then we'll have it'll be all Dr. Turi, and then I think we pretty much covered everything else. I mean, we had there was a discussion in the beginning of the show that we had that wasn't in the outline that I had, and there's other stuff that kind of, but that's what I love about it. Like
Yes.
that's why I don't like I did like if there's some stuff most of the time I won't watch it until we're live because I like the
Hmm.
instant. It's all about the on the fly instant, and I feel that's where you get the most creativity from. That's why I'll only have like a little outline, my outline for the show. There's the whole outline for the show. So I'll have a whole outline, key points, to, targets and things like that. And then, you know, this some people need to write scripts just to be able to do a show or a video. I don't. I just need key points because everything else is here and everything else is created organically, and that's the beautiful part about it. So, um,
Yeah.
what about this is crazy too, is that Guthrie case, that new ransom letter, and now they have a vehicle of interest. Did you hear about that?
I did know about a vehicle of interest, but I'm not sure if it's the same one. That case, yeah, that case is too much.
I haven't really checked out much when it comes to the details of it, you know. I've
Hmm.
been really just focusing on all of this stuff and other stuff in the background, but I figure we should probably do maybe we can do a short episode after tomorrow after we do the Dr. Turvey one or something. Do it just a
Definitely.
little teeny
Yeah.
episode focusing on it. I kind of want to because I've heard you mention it a few times. I don't know have how many of you guys in chat have how many of you guys in chat have heard the details of it? I know you've said it a few times to me how it's just really the details are really odd, so it's got me intrigued to.
Yeah, it's a very mysterious case because there doesn't seem to be. It's one of those where there doesn't seem to be a clear reason for why anything's happening. So it's like it's just confusing. Also, there's conflicting stuff coming out about it. So I think the media and the police are a little bit at odds, as
Well,
usual.
I did see a report tonight that the sheriff might have um, mishandled the case.
Oh, really? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Like I was hearing reports about how the sheriff mishandled the case and how the investigators didn't investigate it properly.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and they said, "Well, it's a small town.
So yeah, like I know
It's
when
not
when
good."
you first got involved when you first got involved in watching the press conferences for Idaho 4 and something was just very weird about that. It feels a little bit like this with the press conferences because when when the media asks a question, it's like he's looking for a way to not really answer it. So he'll say stuff that it's just it's
Okay,
just
so
yeah.
so what okay, so I know Ashley Banfield has been um putting out a lot of stuff that's not necessarily being put out from the authorities.
Yes.
Is that I mean, is that stuff coming from the authorities in your opinion, or is it clickbait?
She she says that it's coming from a source, which I think she's implying is part of the authorities. I I think based on the sheriff's behavior when he's asked questions, I think there might be quite a bit of truth to what she's saying. I'm not saying that I agree with her just saying it.
Well,
Like,
she's the one that came out and said it was the son-in-law and even gave a name in a photo. So
yeah,
it,
I thought that was a little
premature.
yeah, yeah, but And also maybe like a little bit, like maybe she was interfering a bit. Like it might not have been something. It's almost like they have a bit of a leak. If she's saying that her source is really that involved and reliable, then that's probably not very good. It's not very good. But the way that the sheriff is behaving, it's like he's not denying stuff that she said necessarily. He's just kind of saying that it shouldn't have been said, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, there's plenty of stuff that I've known or still do about the stuff in the cases I've worked on that I've shared with, you know, authorities and agencies, I'll just say. And I've always went the ethical route when it comes to not sharing it unless it's that time, so um
It felt premature. Like I feel like maybe if what she was saying was accurate, I think that the authorities wanted more time to work with it before she started talking about it. But then at the
right,
same
that's
time,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I like that would be like me coming out and doing a freaking show on it, on the
Hmm.
stuff that I are when you're not supposed to, what
Hmm.
what you can talk about, what you can't talk about, um how to say it, you know what I mean? Like, all
Yeah.
of these things. And so that's why I can see that being the case, because it would be like me, finding out, like finding information and passing it on to the authorities, and they are able to come up with a suspect in a vehicle, and before they are even though I might have information that I know what their conclusion is going to be, because I'm the one that had it first and I'm giving it to them because of what it is showing. um well, then it's like, it's just wrong. It's unethical to do that. You don't
Yeah.
do that to an investigation, because it's not about you, and it's not about the authorities. It's about the victim. And the only way for the victim to get the full justice is for you to keep your damn mouth shut until it's time for you to say something.
Yeah. So I think the way that I think about it as well, which is really similar to what you've just said, is that you can report on an
Yeah,
investigation, but you
yeah,
can't report at the expense of an investigation. So the moment that you're like, you can report what's happening, but the moment you're actually interfering, I think that is a problem. And a lot of
yeah,
people think that, well, people have a right to know, and we're keeping the police in check or whatever. But that's
yeah.
not necessarily the case. Not everybody knows how and what the police are doing behind the scenes and how much time they may need.
Right. It's
You're
just like,
hampering.
but
Yeah.
the stuff that I sent to the agencies about John Paul Miller in Solid Rock Church, you know, like, there's things that were sent, you knew something was going to happen. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some stuff I never even put out there.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's seen it but me and the agencies.
Exactly. Yeah.
And look what happened. Now the motherfucker's getting indicted from the FBI. His house got raided like a month and a half after the stuff that I sent. His house
Mhm.
got raided. And then
Yeah.
people, everybody's like, man, he should be in cuffs right now. And I'm telling everybody, just trust me. It takes time. It takes time. And I'm like, well, when do you think it could be, CJ? And I'm like, look, it could be a year to 5 years. Like, that's how much this stuff can open up cans of worms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It took a little over a year. Now he's not, now he's getting indicted. He's here pretty soon. They're going to have the court hearings. He's going to have justice. It may not be the exact justice that he deserves, but he's going to get some kind of justice served. He's going to be a little more than a slap on the wrist. Trust me. Trust me. But at the same time, it's like, yes, you have to. I could have easily came out back in the summer of 2024 and said, look, guys, look at all this crap that I'm looking at. And it could have been huge and breathtaking, but no, that's not what it's about. It's about the right thing happening, and still the right thing hasn't happened. Just like with Sam. John Paul Miller was trying to sue Sam for thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Because he was part of the reason why Solid Rock fell. So he was trying to sue Sam for all this money, claiming that Sam was harassing him and all this stuff. And you know what? So you know that speech that Sam did? Does anybody know what I'm referring to with the Micah Miller case?
Yes.
Sam came there at one of the protests, walked in front of the camera and was screaming, justice for Micah, right? So right after that happened, I had put a video clip up there because I had never met him before. This was the first or second time I was out there. May of 2024. First time I ever met him was him walking in front of me and him screaming justice for Micah, okay? Didn't know him at all. So after he did that, I was like, I felt inspired, and I knew people would feel inspired too. And so I made a highlight clip out of it. And I wanted to, because you could feel, what's up, Yvonne? You could feel the passion in the spirit in his voice, right? And so I uploaded it. And it was a couple days later, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, CJ, can you do me a favor? And I was like, yeah, what's up, man? And he goes, you know that clip that you have of me screaming justice for Micah? And I was like, yeah. He's like, can you do me a favor and take that down? And I was like, yeah, no problem. No problem at all. And so I just went ahead and took it down. He come to find out, and this is the reason why, John Paul Miller had started to harass him, send him cease and desist, and threaten legal action. And he wanted me to take that down because he felt that it was going to affect him in a negative way through all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Come to find out, we became really good friends since. And he's like, dude, as soon as you did that, bro, he's like, I knew you were a solid dude, because most people won't even do that. And he's like, you didn't have no problem whatsoever with doing it. And he reached out to me last summer and he's like, hey, I have a favor to ask you. And I was like, yeah, anything I can help you out with. And he was like, John Paul Miller is trying to sue me, and it actually is going through the court systems now. And he's saying that on this specific date that I showed up to a protest and harassed him. And that's where he's getting his basis to sue me. And he goes, do you have any footage that can show the truth? And I said, yeah, I got it. Whatever you need. I went through my footage. I got the clips out of my footage. I sent it to him. I even recorded, because I couldn't be there in person, I even recorded a message for the courts before including that video explaining the situation, where Sam was at, what went down, the timestamps, and how what Sam was being accused of was not true. My footage that I sent over was played in court, and that footage right there proved everything that JP said was an absolute lie because number one, it proved that Sam, because I sent the whole thing and I sent clips. It proved that Sam didn't do or say what was being claimed. In fact, I also had on my footage one of their own church members coming out in front of my camera, admitting on camera 2 times that John Paul Miller wasn't even at church that day and he didn't even know when he was going to come back. That video right there tossed the whole lawsuit out of the court because it showed what the truth was about it. And so that right there, little things like that can really make a difference when it comes to these other cases that we're working on. And it's one of the reasons why I document so many things that I document, why I have so much footage that I do with all of these cases that most people don't even know or have even seen because there's just so much of it. I'm just going to a specific point at a specific video just to show whatever I'm talking about at that moment. But when it comes to that right there is like he got denied for that lawsuit, and now because that thing didn't get drug out and the footage was able to knock that lawsuit out of the way, then it opened the door for the agencies to even push harder to do what they're doing because they needed to make sure that went through before they could really pounce on everything when it comes to the indictment. I really feel like he is going to get prison time. I don't see why he wouldn't with the stuff that the agencies have on him. I don't see why he wouldn't get prison time. And the only way that he wouldn't is if somebody that's in the state has some kind of pull, when it comes to not necessarily the conviction, the sentence. That's the part that I think there could be some pull is the sentence, not necessarily because you can get the conviction. It's the sentence that determines how much justice is really handed out.
Yeah, and I think that's like a perfect example of not reporting at the expense of an actual case or the people involved. Like I think that fits really well with what we were saying before. Like it would have been so much easier for you to just leave the footage up and it would have been the end of everything from that point. So
yeah, I took down the stream. I took down anything that had in reference to that particular protest. I had removed all of it, privated it, all that stuff. I still had it up there because I knew one day I was going to be able to put it, to have it back up there. So, but yeah, it's, I didn't understand it back then, but, because that was in the very beginning of me working on that case before I even went to Lumber River, and I went there like over 10 times before I even went to Lumber River. It was very, very early. And so as time progressed and I started to get deeper into the investigation and there was more sources that were giving me information. I was reaching, more people that were directly or indirectly involved with the church in some fashion and, just, doing all that digging. And I'm glad that we all, it was a great team effort, thanks to you, Rosee, because You know, while I
Mhm.
was out there boots on the ground, you were the one producing the show and holding everything down. And so, you know, without that team effort, we wouldn't have been able, I wouldn't have been able to, you know, because gosh, remember all the times I had to say, just give me a moment. I have to, you know, you'd
Yeah.
see somebody come up and you wouldn't see him, but you could hear him go, are you live? Are you recording? And okay, I need,
Yeah.
you need to come over here. I can't be on, I can't have my voice recorded. I can't be on camera, you know, all of those different things. And there was, it happened a lot. You know what I mean? And so without the team, you know, we wouldn't have been able to, I really, you know, the stuff that we uncovered and the stuff that we were able to do because of the team effort, I really like, there's a reason why all of this stuff is really happening when it comes to JP is because we were all able to do it together, because without you or without the mods, you know, handling the chat, and you know, and without me being able to focus on the boots on the ground and the
Yeah.
investigating and things, like if we had to shift focus, any one of us in our particular parts had to shift focus into another part, then that left less focus on, you know, and I don't think that we would have been able to accomplish what we did. So we'll be having a Micah Miller show coming up soon. You know, discussing a lot of the different things that have come out. And that that court hearing will be starting here. It shouldn't be. I think it's maybe another week or so before.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it got continued. It was in January, but it got continued. So he's got an ankle monitor. He's had an ankle monitor on since he had his restrictions. He's not able to. He's a flight risk.
Yeah.
So he's not even able to fly in his own little private jet. Ankle monitor, and they're keeping tabs on him until he has to start showing up for the court hearings
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on. So that's good news too. But yeah,
Mhm.
there's with that the Guthrie stuff, it was, you know, the stuff that I've been hearing tonight about how the sheriff fumbled the investigation and how the investigators didn't even properly investigate it, and now it's the third time that crime scene has been out there, and they keep expanding the taped off area. So it's like that's really concerning too, and it's like, why would
Mhm.
Ashley put shit out there that, number one, you're to accuse somebody of doing something when you don't know, you know what I mean? Like if to put somebody's name and picture out there that is not
Mhm.
confirmed as a suspect, that is really freaking dangerous, and I don't think anybody should be able to report if that's how reckless they're going to be about it.
Yeah.
But also putting out information that you're being told that you're not supposed to just because you need to get your commercial money, that's really messed up too. And I hope that
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, even if she's doing things like saying maybe a suspect, which I've noticed she has been saying quite a bit now, that just the act of putting somebody's picture on a screen is, I mean, I was kind of taken aback. Like when she did that, I assumed that the sheriff's department and everybody at the next press conference was going to come out and say the same thing, and she maybe just got a bit of a head start and everything was okay and it had been confirmed and stuff. And then when they were like, we don't even have a suspect, I was like, whoa, that seems
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that because that was not too long after she came out with hers, and I'm just like, I didn't know what to believe at that point, you know,
Yeah.
because when you get information and you share it and you keep it, you know, you know, behind the door or whatever, you're you see that as definitely a possibility when you hear police say, "No, we've never confirmed that." I instantly go to, "Oh my god, they did it because it's about the attention. Why in the hell would they do that?" Because I instantly then go, "You just compromised an investigation for your own selfish reasons, and the only thing and the victim is the one who suffered the most because of what the hell you just did." It's so wrong.
That Yeah, that, and you've also compromised a person who may or may not be involved. It's not confirmed. I'm pretty sure that regardless of whether that person is involved or not, like they probably feel a little
Well,
unsafe right now.
think about this.
Yeah.
What if she had it, they're not a confirmed suspect. The dude, maybe he was going through something and was, felt suicidal and then did a murder suicide with his fucking spouse because of what you know what I mean? Like you put him in a spot where he felt like he needed to harm like that right there. And then it's like maybe a suspect. What the hell?
Hmm. I
No.
know. I know.
Like every choices have reactions.
Yeah. And of course, at the end of the day, all this is doing is distracting from this poor missing old woman. Like it's an elderly person and they literally have no idea where she is. Like she's just
Yeah, with blood that was left at the scene and her pacemaker was shut off the same day.
yeah.
That scares me right there. When I heard the pacemaker being disconnected, shut off, a couple hours after she was kidnapped, I was like, that like the pacemaker's inside you.
Mhm.
It's inside you. Like,
Yeah.
how do you just
Yeah.
shut it off and disconnect it?
I don't know. I am hoping that it's more of a range issue because apparently some people were saying that it could just mean that it
Yeah.
got too far away
It-
from the watch. But then at the same time,
Which it goes with it because the radius, because they did on the new note, they did say it would take about this long to return her back to Tucson. You look at the range. I don't think the criminal's gonna go, hey, it's gonna take us 6 hours to get there when it really would take 6 hours. I don't see a criminal being that stupid. I see them still being in Tucson, 2 blocks away. Okay. I don't
Yeah.
see them that's just a time frame to throw off and to give them time to make sure, I got 6 hours to make sure that I can take my time to make sure nobody's going to see me and I can try and get away with it. Um, so with the disconnected though, that with what you're saying, that could be possible because it is, I think it was like how many hours of a drive? It was like 12 to 18 hours of driving, depending on the regions that you were going to. It covered like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Nevada, Colorado, Oklahoma. It was a pretty huge area, and some of the Pacific Ocean too. So that could be too that they traveled so far because it was multiple hours after she was abducted that it did finally, disconnect or was shut off.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's tragic.
Oh wow. Caddy says she is going a bit over the top in my opinion. I watched her on Megan K today and she is not backing down at all with her sources and putting oh my gosh. What is
Yeah.
But you got to remember when Ashley Banfield was doing the same thing with Brian Koberger in Idaho 4 in November and December of 2022. She was doing the same stuff.
Was she? I wasn't watching her.
That's why I quit watching
Oh,
because she was putting out like information that like he was connected to the victims on social media.
right.
That she was putting out information about how He had one of the victim's driver's license or school IDs in a shoebox in his closet in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was the one putting out a lot of this bull crap that was not even true. That's when I stopped watching her. Was in was back then, because that's when because back then when the Idaho 4 crime happened, I s- about the only news organization I trusted at that point was News Nation. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had literally lost faith in all of the other ones because it was so obvious they were lying about stuff or creating propaganda. But News Nation, I felt like the people on there and the reporting that I was hearing was legitimate to me. It was real. It was stuff that wasn't being reported on your local, or your other national media, because of whatever they were trying to spin. Okay. But when the Idaho 4 case happened, that's when I started to see these News Nation hosts start to go, like, really, like, become the clickbait,
Mm-hmm.
where okay, so here's a perfect example. You know how I said earlier how most of the time I like to wait to watch something until we watch it live for the on the fly, the in the moment kind of creativity that it brings? There'd
Mm-hmm.
be plenty of times back then that I would save a title of a video that had to do with
Mm-hmm.
the case, right? And then I would click on it and I would watch it for the show. And then all of a sudden, the title didn't match what the hell was in the video. And I'm like, why in the hell? And it kept happening and happening and happening at the same time as all this other BS misinformation was being put out there. So that's when I was
Yeah.
like, I can't even listen to News Nation like this. Now, Brian Enton's completely different to me. Like Brian Enton, I trust Brian Enton. The other people, nah, not really. I'll listen to what they have to
Yeah.
say. I'll listen to the people that they have on the show. Do I put that much into it? No, I don't. So it sucks that Ashley is doing this, but at the same time, we also have to put her past into consideration. She's done
Yeah.
this before with a high profile case where she wanted to try and get the most attention, and so she'll put shit out there, claim that she's getting it from sources close to the investigation, just like she did with Idaho 4 in the very beginning, and then continue to put this stuff out, which then all these other crime shows and all this stuff started to go with it. And then we found out later on, as documents came out, that no, this stuff was actually not true. This was twisted and manipulated. And so I think that's what's happening here, is because she got stuff from the investigators. There was leaks that were providing information, but I think Ashley puts makeup on it.
Mm-hmm.
She dresses it up and puts makeup on it and then puts it out there. Because can an officer that said, "Hey, I'm going to give you this little bit of information," can that officer then come out after Ashley dresses it up and puts makeup on it and says, "That's not exactly what I told Ashley"? They can't do that. So there's
Right.
nobody that can combat the information that she's putting out there to keep her in check. And so I really feel like that's the situation. It hurts because she's putting shit out there that is hurting an investigation. Now, the people in Idaho, they wanted her to promote victim's ID found in shoebox in Pennsylvania home during search. They wanted that information because that's the narrative they were looking for. These police officers, I don't know. As far as I know, they're upset at her. So as far as I'm concerned, they're like, dude, we you are fucking up. You fucked up an investigation in Idaho 4. They wanted you to fuck it up for their own narrative. You're fucking
Yeah.
up an investigation out there. Is it Arizona, right? In Arizona, they don't want you fucking up the investigation. There's the difference
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. They seem really upset.
Yeah. And then you got like even like the host of Fox News, like we're gonna I want to go into that for a little bit,
Well,
when maybe
okay.
later on or whatever. Maybe what we can do is we could do that show first and then do the Brett Turvey stuff.
Mhm.
Something. We don't
Something.
have a notification. We don't even know exactly what time we're doing it in the morning. It's something new that we're trying Saturday mornings. So if you wake up, just search up EvilleCJ and Rosee and see if we're live. We might be. We really might be.
Might be.
Um, is there anything else you want to cover? I'm gonna.
Mm-mm.
It's gonna take me a little work. I gotta kind of reword and thumbnail and stuff like that. I can put a notification out for the Turvey thing if you want. If you wanna, if there's like a particular time that I can put out a
You
notification.
you decide the time and let me know.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just wait to put out a notification. Because I guess we'll kind of take a look at some of this other stuff and kind of get a better idea, but I do want to cover the Guthrie case
Yes.
a little bit. Have a show that's actually focused on that and not tied in with another case.
Yes.
And then also I'll probably get to the Micah Miller episode sometime during the weekday next week, unless you want to be a part of it, and then I can make sure that we wait until the weekend, next weekend, to do that. So you can let me know on that.
Okay. All right.
I think that's pretty much everything. Let me see the audio, Dr. Turvey. I wanted to kind of go into discussion about Bethany versus Dylan and who could hear what.
Okay.
But we can do that on the next show, because I really feel like as much as I as much as I would say if Dylan was my friend, I would haunt her because there would be no way that I could pass over to the other side. There's no way I could see the light. I would be one of those souls that would be trapped in anger.
Yeah.
You didn't call for me, but Bethany, on the other hand, I feel like I could make an argument on why Bethany couldn't or might not have heard what was going on. Okay. I know there's a lot of people that are, putting them both together. And yes, they're both living roommates. But right off the bat, before I even break down what I want to break down about why I feel that Bethany might not have heard what was going on, legitimately might not have heard, you can just start off from the very beginning, like where you fill out your name. Dylan's door was literally a foot away, and Bethany's was rooms. Okay. So you don't even have to break anything down, and it's right off the bat where you fill out your name. You already see it. Oh, okay. I really would like to focus on some live calls in one of these shows in the future too, because I really want to know how many people really think BK did it. Why?
Yeah.
If they do think so, why? If you think he had help, the timeline, just certain things about the case. I would like to know all this time later because of all the documents and all the information that has come out since. So one of these shows, we'll be able to totally focus and sit back and open up the phone lines, just to take calls. We kind of have to assume that each one would take about 15 minutes, just to get a good. So 4 calls right there is already an hour and a half, so we gotta make sure that we don't do stuff like what I did tonight and just kind of keep driving and just stopping to talk about what we're talking about. There's no rush, you know. So whenever we
Yeah.
can do that. Do you feel like we're gonna go ahead and end the show here in a minute? Do you feel like doing a police simulator episode, or do you want to wind down from the show?
I think we should maybe wind down just because I want to make sure my computer is still behaving itself when we get to the next one
No,
because
no problem.
it's doing so well. I'm so proud of it right now.
Yeah, there is no
Yeah.
wind down for me, so you know, I do need to change the title and the thumbnail to what the episode was on, and then after that, I'm gonna be gaming. I'm gonna be
Okay.
gaming something. So probably, since we're not gonna be doing a police simulator episode, I'm going to be streaming over at my gaming channel. So if you want to sub up over there, if I can find it, where did it go? Okay, never mind. I don't know where it.
Are you looking for the TV channel link?
Yeah. Let me see
Hold
here. I got it. All right. So here's the link. You can come hang out over there. I will be over there doing some gaming throughout the night. I'm going to be up through the whole night. So we kind of planned this to where I was going to get some sleep at a certain time, and then I was going to be able to hang out on Rosee. We're going to be hanging out on Rosee time zone tonight. So I'm going to be up all through the overnight. So I'll be gaming quite a bit throughout the overnight. And then we're going to be doing some shows early in the morning. So if you wake up early, come on back. If not, give us a replay and let us know what you think about what we're going through All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Love you. Appreciate you. It's good to be back. Sorry about that little emotional spot there. It kind of hit me, and I didn't expect it. Got to say I love you again, Tommy. Miss you, buddy. Miss you so much. And I love you guys. Please be safe.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Appreciate you. See you at the TV channel.